talked about Draymond Green's suspension, we've talked about possibly trading Klay Thompson, and we've talked about Steph Curry being the only Warrior to put over 20 points in the first half of the season. Well, let's talk about something positive. Let's shed a little light here on Chris Paul, because could he possibly be the key to help the Warriors reach a championship yet again? Before we talk about Chris Paul and all of his greatness, I want you guys to go on ahead and hit that sub button for me, because every sub equals a Warriors dub. They just recently snapped their 6-game losing streak, and I know you guys do not want to go back down that road. So all you got to do is hit that sub button for everything you possibly need about your Golden State Warriors to find right here. So Chris Paul, here's what Kerr wants, and he said this after the game versus the Rockets when they did actually win. He wants them to move the ball more, and he wants them to control the pace on the floor. That's what helped the Warriors beat the Rockets, and I personally think this is what can help the Warriors continue to win. Well, I think CP3 is your conductor. He's your quarterback. He is everything you possibly need to get the offense rolling. He's 38 years old. He's a 19-year veteran. He has seen and done it all in the NBA. And when I look at Chris Paul and how he acts on the floor with the Warriors, he truly leads them in a lot of categories. But first and foremost, when he has the ball in his hands, here's where he typically goes when he is starting to run that offense. CP3's passes this season, he averages about 12.1 passes per game to Dario, and then 7.9, almost 8 passes to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers. And then his assists, he has about nearly 2 assists a game to Dario, Steph, and Klay when they do make a field goal. But once again, when he does assist to Dario, Steph Curry, or Klay Thompson, they tend to have 1.1, 1.3, and 1.1 made 3-point shots on a pass from Chris Paul. And these are just flat out stats. And we saw it versus the Rockets the other night. When Klay Thompson made 5 of 7 of his field goals, they were from passes from Chris Paul. Same thing with Curry. He made 3 out of 5 3-point field goals made, once again, from a pass that starts with Chris Paul. I'm really noticing a trend here. He has great court vision. And by great, I mean, look, the play usually ends with a nice shot from Steph Curry. That's something Warriors fans are used to seeing. What they're not used to seeing is Chris Paul starting the domino effect. Chris Paul is new this season. They've played 14 games together. But I promise you, it may end with Steph Curry, but it starts with Chris Paul's court vision. And I want you guys to go ahead and get started on Prize Picks. It is our sponsor here on Warriors Today. I'm playing it. Smitty's playing it. Everybody here at Chat Sports is playing it, and here's how you can too. Just pick between 2 to 6 players, pick their projected stats, and just click more or less, and you're going to get a 50-50 shot at winning yourself some real money. They do have a lovely little deal going on right now for Thanksgiving Day football. Christian McCaffrey having more than half a reception and a rushing yard. That's easy money in the bag right there. Excuse me. And then you have Klay Thompson. I have him having more than 12.5 field goal shots attempted. And you got Giannis with more than 11 rebounds and Derek White having more than 13.5 points. These are my picks. You guys can make yours. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100 and watch yourself win some real money in real time. You may be asking me, Allie, why could Chris Paul be the key to offense here? Well, look at his qualifications, guys. He's third all-time in the NBA in assists, behind John Stockton, behind Jason Kidd. He's got 11,616. He's also ranked 7th in the league this season, his 19th year in assists with 7.7 per game. He has had 4 double-digit assist games in the past 14 games, and he has 115 assists on the year. The kid doesn't stop. He is what the Warriors have needed. He helps take things off of Steph Curry's plate. So, with 14 games so far this season, I want to ask you guys, grade Chris Paul's performance so far for the Warriors. 14 games in, I'm giving this man a B. No, I'm going to give him a B because they haven't won as many games I thought they would with Chris Paul, but I don't blame Chris Paul for that. I don't blame anybody. I'm just saying I would put it as a full-blown A if they were winning as many games as the Warriors should be right now. So overall, I like Chris Paul. I like him on the Warriors. I'm going to give him a B, but go on ahead and type in the comments below what you guys grade Chris Paul's performances so far this year. When you look at when the ball is actually in Chris Paul's hands, so far this season, Chris Paul ranks in the top 20 of touches per NBA player, but he's obviously has the ball in his hands the most for any other Warrior on the team. He's got almost 70 touches per game. Well, he's got nearly 30 touches every time he's in the front court. He's averaging about 5.6 minutes of possession, and he's averaging about 4.32 dribbles every time he's got that ball. Now, he's more than likely going to assist it to Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, but if he does what Steve Kerr wants, then he's going to be moving the ball a lot more, which means those dribble numbers may come down. But he wants him to control the floor. He has the most the most touches of any dub on that court, which really helps out Steph Curry. And Chris Paul, that's what he wants to do. He said, I make a conscious effort to push the ball and get the ball up the court so that it's balanced. It's kicking it ahead. It's trying to put plays together. It's like a quarterback that doesn't want to throw interceptions, especially when you have the shooters and scorers that we have on this team. You've got a dream come true as an assist machine for Chris Paul. You got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. You got the frickin' Splash Brothers all around the perimeter waiting for your pass. So if you spread out the offense like Steve Kerr wants and start adding a lot more passes in that mix to spread out that defense, holy cow, that could be cash money. You need CP3 to be the conductor on the floor. You may have Steve Kerr being the coach, call the plays, but let CP3 do what he's been doing for 19 years, man. Control the floor. This is a pretty interesting comment that 95.7 The Game put out there. This is actually from Steve Kerr after they lost to the Thunder. He said, it's funny. I was in my office with a couple people trying to unwind after the game, like, most coaches probably do. I looked down onto the practice floor, and about 8 guys were out there going through pick and roll coverage. It was great. This was the first time I've seen a post-game defensive session. I loved it. It was just the players. The coaches weren't involved. Guess who was leading this defensive session? Oh, yeah. Chris Paul was. He is a veteran. You got rid of Jordan Poole in his immaturity, and you added the most mature player in the league right now. He wants to help the Warriors win. That's the stuff Warriors fans aren't seeing. The post-game defensive sessions that really need to be happening when stuff isn't working, i.e. a 6-game losing streak. He leads the team in steals with 1.2 a game. He has 18 turnovers this season and 115 assists. He's great with the ball in his hands. So, it's time to put the ball in his hands. No, he's not the flashiest shooter, and you don't need to be. You don't need 3 flashy shooters with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Chris Paul. That's never been his game. His game has been help the shooters, and you've got 2 of the best in the league. So, it's time to give Chris Paul his flowers. Show CP3 some love. After what I saw from the Rockets game, I guess I was so focused on whether or not Klay Thompson was going to make his shot, I wasn't actually wondering what Chris Paul was doing. Now he's the only player I'm going to be watching because I want him to lead this offense. So type 3 in the comments to show him some love as the Dubs do head in to Chris Paul's former territory tonight in Phoenix, Arizona. That's right. What better time to show Chris Paul some love than before tonight's matchup when the Golden State Warriors do take on the Phoenix Suns. No Bradley Beal tonight, but Devin Booker will be playing, and I'll be intrigued to see how this new offense works fresh off a win against the Rockets. So like I said, sub for Warriors Dubs. If you want the Dubs to beat the Phoenix Suns, all you guys have to do is hit that sub button for me because everything you need to know about what happens in the Bay Area, you're going to find right here at Chat Sports.